Marcel have this question. Can smoking be categorized under the fifth precept, intoxicants that douse the mind? Well, so there are some who thinks that it can be categorized under the fifth precepts. There are some who think it cannot be categorized under the fifth precepts. And why? Because in the ancient Indian medical treatment, there's one form of the treatment which is similar to smoking. Yeah, similar to smoking. Granted, that is done in the form of medication. But the trouble is, when people smoke today, is it for medication purposes? Is it prescribed by the doctors? No, huh? Yeah. So then the question is it a form of intoxicant? So intoxicants have the feature of clouding the mind. Yeah, clouding the mind. I don't know how it's like to smoke, but I heard that when people smoke, they get invigorated, at least for a short while. Yeah. I rarely hear people, we are talking about cigarettes here, because smoking can be smoking marijuana and all kinds of things. If it's smoking marijuana or pot, or I mean marijuana is pot, or anything of the those substance, then it causes your mind to become, go in an altered state. Then that will be under intoxicants. But normal cigarettes, does it count as intoxicants? So okay, before I continue, someone might watch this video up to this point and think, this market is not willing to outrightly dismiss smoking. Is he advocating smoking? Is he smoking at the side? No, yeah. I don't smoke myself, and I don't think it is wise to be smoking. Yeah. But if you ask me whether it's under the fifth precepts, we must go according to the precept. Yeah. As I shared with some students or some volunteers before, volunteer teachers, the question, the parallel is, there was a question of whether playing computer games is against the fifth precepts. Yeah. Or is it something against the teachings? So I said, well, while we may not agree with children playing excessively, we cannot then classify it as under the precept. Yeah. If I have a choice, I would say don't smoke. Please don't smoke. Yeah. But I cannot then classify under this or that precepts just to legitimize it. Yeah. Oh. So is it under intoxicants? Simply put, does it intoxicate to the point of clouding your mind? Does it cloud your mind? Any ex-smokers or do you know of anyone who smokes and they have shared with you how it's like to smoke? Do they say after they smoke, they're mabuk? Huh? No, right? Yeah. So by that definition, it is not considered a violation of the fifth precept. Or simply put, because in the Buddha's time, the rules were set within those contexts. Yeah, so many things are not classified in the five precepts. But then students have asked me, in that case, then it's okay to smoke. Yeah. So I said, well, the Buddha didn't say that I cannot spit at you, right? It didn't. The five precepts in the Vinaya never say I cannot spit at you, right? It doesn't mean I should do that. It doesn't mean it's good to do that. It doesn't mean it's nice to do that as well, right? So when we see a certain behavior or certain actions, we shouldn't have to, first thing, check, is it against the precepts? We should ask ourselves, if I do this, will it disturb people? Will it harm myself? Will it harm others? Yeah. Is it censored by people around me? That means if I do it, will people frown upon it? Yeah. Yeah. But even if people around me don't frown upon it, we should ask ourselves, how about the law? Yeah, because maybe people around you are all with warped thinking. Yeah. Or maybe it's in violation of the law, but your whole group of friends, you all don't care about the law. So you should consider, how about the law of the land? Yeah, in this part in the Vinaya, there's this term 随方毗尼. Yeah. So there is such a stipulation that wherever you go, you should observe the law of the land. Why? Because the Buddhas, with the Buddha and the monks, they travel from places to places within India. And India at that point in time is not one country. So you go to this country, this state, there were 16 major states and then small sub-states. So when they go from one state to another, they need to observe the protocols, the law of the land. Otherwise, they'll get in trouble. Then you get in trouble for nothing. Yeah. Also, even if it is in accordance to the law of the land, then you got to ask yourself, then and only then you ask yourself, is it against the precepts? But sometimes, even if it's not against the precepts, it is by letter is against the spirit of the precepts. Or maybe it's not covered so clearly, then you got to ask yourself, what is your intention for doing it? Yeah. Or is it to harm others? Is it to satisfy ourselves? Yeah, our greed. Yeah. And in the case of smoking, you can just ask yourself, is it necessary? It's actually not necessary, right? Yeah. But one could also extend this to entertainment. Is entertainment necessary? Not really, right? You'll just feel bored, but is it a necessity? No, it's not. Yeah. But in the case of smoking, it is a clearly harmful activity to yourself and others. Second-hand smoke is a number one or two killer. Yeah. Also, I hesitate to classify this under intoxicants that dulls the mind. Yeah. But I will be happy to stand corrected if any of you know about the harmful effects of smoking dulling the mind. Oh, that's that about smoking. Yeah. Maybe one last thing. One last thing would be that there were ever students who asked this, and then they were a bit awkward, and they say, some monks from some traditions are known to smoke. Yeah. How is that okay? Yeah. Because it seems like even lay people try not to smoke. Then how come even some monks in some traditions smoke? And it's simply because it's not directly in violation of any rules. And as I mentioned, back in the Buddha's time, it was a form of medication. Yeah. But even then, I think in those traditions, increasingly it is not acceptable. Increasingly, it's not acceptable. Yeah. The trouble is in some of those traditions, the lay people offer them the secret. Yeah. But it's not the fault of the lay people for offering. Lay people can offer anything you want, but we have to decide whether it's suitable or not. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I just want to bring this up since this question was posed. Yeah. So that we don't leave any stones uncovered. Yeah. Otherwise, some of you may have doubts like, how come Sifu never mentioned about this? Oh. Yeah. So as far as smoking or any other activities is concerned, even if it's not explicitly listed in the precepts, we should go through a certain process of consideration. Because otherwise, in Buddhism, only 5 things that you cannot do. Yeah. And if you add in the 3 things, the 3 other speeches with the 4th precepts to form the complete one, then only how many? 8 things you cannot do. Yeah. Then everything else you can do. 人家了，天下大乱。好，to wrap up, how is everybody with your practice of harsh speech? Can you all still remember the exercise for this week? Yeah. I think harsh speech is fairly straightforward. Fairly straightforward. Yeah. I think a huge part of observing the precepts is actually helping us to develop this awareness as well. That as you consciously put in the effort to observe certain practices, then your awareness of ourself, our body, speech, and mind, becomes more attuned. Because otherwise, usually we observe precepts. We also know part of Noble Eightfold Path, part of the 10 wholesome deeds, right? But on a day-to-day basis, sometimes we may not be so keenly aware. And as we put in effort to the practice, then we become aware not just of the body and speech, but of the precursor mental states that lead to us acting in a certain way, speaking in a certain way. So keep up the practice. Keep up the practice. Check our mental states. Okay, that's all we have for today. 愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿得智慧真明了，
愿得智慧真明了，
不愿罪障悉消除，
不愿罪障悉消除，
世世常行菩萨道。
世世常行菩萨道。
阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。
Till we meet again, may be guided and protected by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And as always,
乖乖
have a quite loving speech day ahead. Okay, maybe not loving speech. Have a quite loving day ahead. So it covers body, speech, and mind. Okay, take care, stay safe.
感恩师父。